to 95.5. The Right Way with David Wright.
A very good afternoon and welcome to The Right Way with me, David Wright, here on Almeria Gold 95.5 FM. And a big thank you to Paul Baker keeping us entertained this afternoon. Thank you, Paul. So it's Thursday afternoon. The weather's not too bad out there today. Storms brewing for the weekend. More on that coming up later on the show. So on today's show, new figures out for inflation in Spain and record amounts of tourists again this year to Spain, and also the new Spanish digital ID and passport app. All about that coming up on the show a little bit later on today.
David Wright. Help and advice for living and working in Spain. You're listening to The Right Way. The Right Way with David Wright.
The Afternoon Show.
The comment section is open. Chat live to the DJ right now via our website.
And here he is, the legendary David Wright.
Yeah, so the comment section has rebooted. Come and say hi. Come and keep me company this afternoon. Hi to Rita in the comment section, Andy C and Sylvia. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Well, we did have a really, really strong winds yesterday afternoon and last night here. I thought my tree was going to go over again. So, yeah, I did have to support that with some straps last night. But it seems to be passed over us here at the moment. But there is some bad weather forecast for tomorrow and early part of next week. Some heavy, heavy rain and some pretty strong winds, so make sure you batten down them hatches. So more tips and advice living and working in Spain coming up on the show today, and we're talking about work in Spain, some things you can do to help find work here in Spain, and what are the jobs that most Brits do here in Spain. That's all coming up a bit later on today. Bit of ABBA there, Super Trooper.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
You're listening to The Right Way with me, David Wright, Almeria Gold, 95.5 FM. Okay, so Spain has released some new figures out this week. They had a record international visitors to Spain this summer. Official data shows 21.8 million visitors. That's up 7% increase on last year's record figures as well. So, yeah, Spain doing really, really well. Spain is the second most visited place in the world at the moment, only second to France, who's number one. And 10 million visitors, this is international visitors, to Spain in July and August alone this year. A lot of outcry from people in big cities, the locals, obviously, for the rental problems at the moment here in Spain, especially in Barcelona and Seville, where they're having trouble to get on the rental ladder because Airbnbs and properties like that are being rented out to tourists. Obviously, they pay more money than the locals, but that's all about to change next year. New rules and regulations coming in for renting properties here, and yeah, that's all coming up on my show a little bit later on as well today. Speedwagon there, keep on loving you.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
Well, did you experience that wind yesterday here in Almeria? It was very, very strong wind here, and typical. Yeah, I was out on the motorway on a motorbike yesterday, 120 miles an hour, 120 kilometres an hour, I should say. Driving lesson, one of my last driving lessons for my big test, the exam, next Tuesday. I've just got one more lesson, try and get in one lesson on Monday afternoon just before my exam. That's for the bigger motorbike here. So, yeah, I was out on the motorway, and they need to see that you're driving at a fair rate of speed and overtaking traffic on the motorway up to 120 kilometres an hour. And yeah, the wind was buffeting like hell yesterday here in Almeria, and last night really, really strong winds all through the night as well. Not much wind at the moment, but the forecast here, the Met Office has issued the Spanish version of the office here have issued some weather warnings for the north of Spain coming in across Portugal, and also in Andalusian area going to be some heavy rain over the weekend, possibly Monday. So yeah, watch out for that. Okay, so a little bit later on the show today, I've got a live guest on the show, Patrick Croyton. He's from Laidback Languages, and we're going to be speaking a little bit of Spanish today, so see if you can stick with us and see what we're saying. Almeria Gold and 95.5 FM. This is The Right Way with me, David Wright. Well, it looks like very soon, if you're living in Spain, you'll be able to travel around the EU without your passport and without an ID card, just your mobile phone. More on that coming up. So, as you probably know, Spain is going all digital, trying to do digital currency. Lots of things you can do online now. Your digital certificate, where you can do pretty much all your banking online. You can do appointments. You can pay taxes here. So it's all going very, very digital, very fast here in Spain. And there's something else that's added into this is the new digital ID and passport. Well, they're talking about now pushing forward on this app they produced, and there's going to be an app out soon, possibly as soon as next year, where you can upload your passport and ID to this app on your mobile phone, and you won't need to travel with a passport or any physical ID. It'll all be done on your mobile phone through this app, and this is going through at the moment. If it goes through, and it looks like it will do, then it could be seeing this as early as next year. This means that you can travel within the Schengen area and using just your mobile phone. So is that more convenient, or is it just another case of Big Brother watching you?
The comment section is open. Chat live to the DJ right now via our website.
And here he is, the legendary David Wright.
So Thursday night is online coaching night. So yeah, since October last year, I've been on this course learning how to teach English to the Spanish here, and set up my own classes now. I've got 9 students, earning me around €500 a month extra income. This is all a part-time. Now, if you want to get on this course, every Thursday night, 7 o'clock Spanish time, we have our live online training. There's a couple of new students joined us a little while ago, and they're on the course as well at the moment, so we'll all be joining in tonight for the live training with teachers. Now, we've got the top professor here. It's Javier. He is a linguistics professor, speaks several languages, and he's come up with this a fantastic system. He's got his doctorate, his PhD in this system of how to teach other languages to people with no reading and no writing. It's fast results. Now, there's quite a few of us on this course now. If you want to come and join us, there's still time to get in. There's a few spaces left. Live training every Thursday night, and you get access to all the materials, and you can learn how to make a part-time or full-time living here in Spain teaching English just by speaking English to Spanish people. So come and check it out. There's links to that on my information page. Also, remember, you can get access to all the links for our help page, our information, and our experts, from visas to lawyers, architects, you name it. We've got it all over on the information page. If you don't know where that is, just go over to the radio station's website. Look for my page there. That's The Right Way with me, David Wright. Scroll down there, you'll see the information page. Failing that, just go over to davidwrightonline.com, davidwrightonline.com, and click the information page. Okay, so it looks like some bus drivers and lorry drivers here in Spain are going out on strike in the next month or so. Could be leading up to Christmas. They're arguing about the retirement age of 67. They're saying it's too much, and this could affect a lot of the big chain stores and supermarkets here running up to Christmas. That's the buses and lorry drivers strike that is in the forecast here for the next few weeks leading up to Christmas. Bit of Navarra there for you. Okay, so on my show tomorrow, this is over on our sister station, Almeria Radio, or 107.5 FM. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, I'm going to be playing all Spanish songs. Yeah, all Spanish songs, Spanish themes, Spanish music. Some of my great all-time favourites as well. And I'm going to play one of those right now here. This is probably my favourite all-time song. And I'll tell you the reason for this before I even play it. Now, many years ago, I was in Mexico, and I was there on a bus. I got on a bus going from one beach to another, and it was a beautiful hot sunny morning, and this young Mexican guy got on with a guitar over the back of his shoulder, sat down, paid his money, sat down on the bus, and then after a few minutes on the journey, he just got up, started walking down the aisle of the bus playing this song, and I've never heard anything like it. It was absolutely amazing. He was singing it, playing it, and everybody was clapping and cheering at the end of it. It wasn't just a busker, it was really really professional. Only a young guy, he's only about 15 years old, local Mexican guy, but it was amazing. So since then I've been playing this song quite a lot, and you can hear it now. See what you think.
For living and working in Spain, you're listening to The Right Way. The Right Way with David Wright.
Yeah, so a little bit later on today, I've got Patrick Crichton coming in. He's going to be live in the show, and we're going to be talking a little bit of Spanish as well. He's a language teacher here and speaks a few languages, and we're going to be having a little chat in Spanish, so see if you can stick with us and see if you can understand what we're saying. So, yeah, yesterday I had another driving lesson for the motorbike out in the motorway yesterday in that in that ferocious wind. It really was windy yesterday on the motorbike, and I got one more lesson on Monday before my test. I've got the big exam on Tuesday morning, so yeah, it's the dreaded driving in test. And I've been through some pretty stressful things in my life, and going through my karate black belt exam, that was a long hard slog. Some of my judo exams were pretty intense. Driving lessons, of course, when I was 17, and the test when I was 17, but this really is high up there on stress factor, I must admit. Driving lessons on a motorbike in Spanish with the instructor following you in a car, shouting and screaming at you through the headset, giving you directions, and you trying not to put a foot wrong. But yesterday I had probably the best lesson I've ever had, and I didn't make any mistakes, just a couple of little minor errors which would have meant that I would be able to pass. So fingers crossed, we'll see. I think I've got a chance. I still only rate myself as around 50% because there's so many factors involved, depending on obviously the instructor, what kind of a mood he's in on the day, the weather conditions, and the route we're going to take. So I've been on several of the routes that we're going to take through Almeria. One of them is going through the city centre, and it's going to be in the morning, so it's going to be through rush hour. I've done that a couple of times. It's not much fun at all with all the traffic in Almeria city. The other one is up on the motorway, going through the motorway traffic. Again, it's going to be in rush hour time. And another one is on the seafront route. There's some very weird street speed restrictions along there, so it's a bit of a challenge, that one as well. So yeah, it's not straightforward or as easy as I first thought, but I passed the theory test finally after third attempt, and I passed the track test, the speed test. I've done everything else. This is the final part of the bigger motorbike license, so fingers crossed for Tuesday. I think I might have a chance.
Live,
David Wright.
David Wright. David.
the afternoon show.
Okay, so yeah, I was at the airport the other day waiting to pick up somebody, and I saw a bit of a kerfuffle with the police and the taxi drivers at Almeria Airport with a British guy that was taking someone to the airport. Now, this guy apparently, I found out later on, has been doing this as a bit of a hobby here. Now, this is something a lot of British people used to do a lot. I'm not sure if they still do it. It is totally illegal, and that is airport runs. It's something a lot of British did. When I first moved here 20 odd years ago, I remember I lived in Roquetas, and there was a lot of British people then offering to take people as a service to the airport, pick them up when they come back and things like that. When people had properties here, they were coming and going quite a bit, so they were offering this service, €20 or something, to take them to the airport. It is totally illegal to do that. You need to be licensed and registered to take passengers here. There's a lot of insurances to pay. If you do that and you take someone to the airport and you're charging for it, they're giving you any money at all, including a tip, then that is a form of payment. Your insurance is null and void. If you have an accident, you are liable for all of their medical bills for life here in Spain. Also, these people at the airport were in trouble with the taxi drivers because they'd obviously been keeping a check. They do look out for it. It's their livelihood. Why wouldn't they? And the police were involved as well. And so this person was going to get in a bit of trouble, I think. So yeah, don't do the airport runs. It might be tempting. It might be an easy way of earning a few quid, but you can get yourself into some hot water.
Live,
David Wright.
David.
the afternoon show.
Still to come in about 10 minutes time, I'll be talking to Patrick Crichton live here about languages, and we'll be talking a bit of Spanish as well, so see if you can listen in and see what we're saying. And talking about jobs here in Spain as was earlier, there's a couple of other jobs that British people tend to trade into here, and that is bar work, working in bars and restaurants, things like that. And it can be quite good, but remember that the long hours here and sociable hours, the pay is not really that good, and it's difficult to get a proper contract here. So a lot of places are paying you cash backhand and things like that. So it could be illegal. So just make sure you've got a proper contract here, or you're legally registered to work here in Spain. Otherwise, you could be in trouble. And another one as well is a key holding service. Now, this can be a good system to get into here. Now, I do know a lady that was in Almeria doing this some time ago, just for holding the keys for people. If you get to know a group of people that are coming and going here, and you look after their place for them, go in and water the plants, make sure they've got milk in the fridge from the day before they turn up, things like that, that can be quite a good business to do. But again, you need to do it properly. You need to do it legally and registered here. And another one is cleaning service. Now, years ago, there was a lady I got very friendly with in Roquetas, and she was doing a couple of cleaning apartments, and she's now built that business up. She's got 4 local girls working for her. She doesn't actually go out and work. She just drums up the business for the clients. She's got a very profitable business in Roquetas doing cleaning apartments and things like that. And she also does key holding as well. So, yeah, these are sort of things that British people tend to go into when they're here in Spain. There are obviously lots of other jobs that you can do here, but you need to speak Spanish. These jobs are all great, working here in Spain. You can make money here. You can get jobs here in Spain, even now after Brexit and everything else, without speaking any Spanish at all. But it is obviously a lot harder. Now, remember that any proper business here that's legal and registered needs to offer that job to locals first before they offer it to people coming in from other countries. So that could be a bit of a starting block before you even start. So, yeah, if you want to go out and find work here in Spain, obviously one of the biggest tips I can give you, the biggest advice, is to learn some Spanish. That will help you more than you know when you first move to Spain. You're listening to The Right Way with me, David Wright, and today I've got a live guest in the show with me. I've got Patrick Crichton. Hi, Patrick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's great, Patrick. So, Patrick, yeah, you're a language teacher. You teach a few languages, and I know you teach Spanish. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk a little bit of Spanish. I'll tell you a little story about some news that's happening for British people in Spain. See if the listeners can understand. So, esta semana yo he ido on television and cosas. La government en Inglaterra quiere poner un impuesto para gente que quiere residencia en España. Entonces, es posible el año que viene la gente inglesa quiere trasladar en residencia en España, necesita poner un impuesto hasta los 5.000 euros cada persona. ¿Qué piensas sobre esto?
Bueno, yo creo que es una tontería, ¿no? Pero como la mayoría de las cosas que hacen los gobiernos en el mundo, es otra cosa más estúpida, yo creo. Sí, ponernos más impuestos así.
Sí, ahora...
Para la gente que quiere salir del país...
Sí.
¿no? Asqueroso, sí, digo yo.
Es una trampa, pero yo pienso mucho menos gente puede hacer, pero ahora mismo no es fijo, no es seguro. Para hablar el otro día sobre 20.000 euros cada persona en 100.000, o sea, si tú tienes 100.000 en tu casa, vendo la casa, necesitas pagar 20.000, o en otro impuesto 5 hasta las 10.000 cada persona para se va, increíble, ¿no?
Sí, es increíble. Honestamente es increíble.
Ahora mismo con Brexit es casi 35.000, 37.000 cada persona para residencia. Bueno, vale, ese es el problema, pero mucha gente encontró una otra solución para esta, pero esta es una clave más, ¿no? Es ridícula, pero y esta es la government, todo lo mismo, ¿no?
Exacto, sí, son todos iguales en todos los países, sí, por desgracia.
Okay, so Patrick, we're talking English now. So if you understood any of that, if you're in the comment section listening, let us know what you think we were talking about. It's fairly straightforward. Let us know in the comment section if you got the gist of what we're talking about, and we'll tell you a little bit about that after the next show. So, Patrick, so you've got some American clients now for your lessons, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm expanding my horizons a bit. I've put all my prices on my website in dollars now. And I've been working with 4 American clients who, they've been fantastic. You know, they're really, they're great people, the Americans. They're great people. They're very fun, very optimistic, and they like an entrepreneur as well, as I'm sure you know. They're much more entrepreneurial minded than we are in the UK. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
And what sort of areas you finding that they're moving to?
They're not moving to any places. Well, actually, I have one client who is now living in Paris, but she's the only one. The rest of them are staying, where they're located in the States.
Yeah.
And I've got, pretty much an even split of French learners and Spanish learners in the States. So, so none of them are moving to Spain, per se, but have you met a lot of Americans over there in Almeria?
Yeah, I've got on some of my sites, I've got a few Americans that have been looking into it, and they've moved over here now. But I think it's a problem with the taxes, because I was told by an American guy that once you're American, you have to pay taxes in America for life. So if you become a resident in Spain, you still got to do your taxes as well. So it's a bit of a setback for them. But there are quite a few Americans here, but they're normally in the north of Spain, up in the north, in the Basque Country there, Barcelona area, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, an increasing amount of Americans probably fed up with the US, also Canadians as well. There's a few Canadians on my sites that have joined and are in the process of moving to Spain within the next year or so. So yeah, all good news. Record amounts of Spanish tourism in Spain last year, and record amounts of Brits as well. Broke all records again this year. Brits moving to Spain, but we all know why that is, don't we?
Yeah, well, I've got a very good idea why. Yeah, well, there are a few reasons, aren't there? But indeed, yeah.
Okay, so we'll be back with Patrick right after this, and that was Yaz and The Only Way Up. So I've got Patrick Crichton in the studio with me, and we're talking about speaking Spanish and languages and learning languages. So Patrick, how did you learn Spanish originally?
So, I learned Spanish. I lived in Spain for 4 years. I lived in Elche, near Alicante, and I spent 3 years in Madrid as well. But I also met people, David, I met people in Madrid who'd been living there for over 10 years, 10, 15 years, and they didn't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
So, it's not the fact of just living in the country. You've actually got to, apply yourself and learn the language.
Yeah.
In short, I have learned languages using podcasts and mastering listening. So I've been doing a lot of listening, and if you can learn how to listen effectively and do what I call active listening, so when you speak to someone, you don't just sit there blankly and let the words wash over you and hope they stick to you. You actually engage with them, and that's what we were talking about just during that little break there, weren't we, about conversation classes or doing role play classes, for example, and just getting stuck in to the language. And that way you get over all these mental blocks that we have. A lot of people, they spend years quote unquote studying a language, but they don't actually ever end up learning how to speak it or understand it. And that's because they don't do it. You've got to learn by doing with languages, because you want the words to go into your subconscious mind. It's a lot like driving, for example. You can sit and study how a car works and the theory of driving, but unless you actually get behind the wheel and drive, you're never going to do it, because it's your subconscious mind that you need to open up to to learn a language.
I started with classes, and I went to some classes here, and I mean I didn't like school as a kid anyway in England, so going to a school here, going into classes, sitting down at a desk with other people learning language, for me was a bit of a nightmare really. And as I said earlier, learning the verbs like to eat, comer, comáis, comemos, comen, past, present, future tense, that just blew me away, and I could see it was going to take me years. So I went into private lessons for a little while, learning, things, words and vocabulary that I was going to be needing for my business back then, which was a carpenter. So I had to go and order my wood and materials. So that really helped me. And after that, that's how I learned, basically, by going out there, looking up the words or finding the words and practicing them, and then going actually using them in the shop and extending on the sentences, just adding bits onto it. And I believe you teach a similar way, is that right?
Yeah, completely. And you've got to do it that way to build the confidence, don't you, to just speak the language and feel comfortable doing so. Yeah, that's exactly how I do. I get people speaking from day one. Day one, first day, we start from the language. I teach the natural method, so how you and I learn English, both as babies, we grew up, we babble the language first and speak it. And there's a big myth that adults learn languages a lot slower than kids, and it's completely false. It's just because kids are in the right environment to do it. And most importantly, they don't get in their own way. They don't have all these like mental blocks that we've got. Like, oh, I'm too old to learn a language. Oh, I was never good at school. But I was bad at school, believe it or not. I failed French at school, and now I speak it fluently as well as, 5 other languages. So the school method is so backwards. The way forward is learning it in a very natural way, and above all, getting rid of those like mental blocks. So that's what I work with people to do, because I'm a psychotherapist as well. So I kind of combine psychology and language learning and to help get rid of those negative beliefs and blocks and and teach them how to learn.
So Patrick, what do you think is the most important things for a British person, for example, when it comes to Spain, they want to learn some Spanish? What sort of things should they be learning first?
Well,
apart from ordering a beer.
yeah, the classic. Una cerveza, por favor. Greetings for sure. So like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. And saying how you are.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that, you want to start building relationships as soon as possible, like as early as possible. So you stand out from the crowd. So you're not just another guiri, who doesn't speak Spanish very well, who's just there for the sun. You want to show the Spanish people you actually care about them and their culture. So if you can learn a little bit of slang or something, like even the word guiri, which means white, typically white tourist, isn't it? Like white English tourist. If you can learn stuff like that and use it, you'll show them that you care about their culture, not just, the sun and cheap alcohol. You're there because you love Spain and Spanish people. And then they will become your teachers, everyone will become your best friend and your teacher. So that's what I suggest.
Actually, that word, the guiri, I used that years ago when I went to go to builders merchants. I've told this story before, but they didn't understand me, didn't understand what I wanted, didn't have the time of day for me, even though I spoke quite well what I wanted to get through to them. I was ordering some wood, and I left with my tail between my legs, so to speak, very embarrassed and upset that they wouldn't give me what I wanted. This was in a typical builders merchant, so it's a little bit older Spanish generation. I haven't really got the time for you. And then so my Spanish teacher at the time told me to go and say this phrase, and I walked in a couple of days later and said, tapped the guy on the shoulder and said, hola, soy guiri, no tonto, puedo ayudarme por favor? And which is basically, I'm a bloody tourist, I'm not stupid, can you help me please? And he sort of looked at me and seeing that I was taking the mickey out of myself, and he just took a bit of paper off me and said, what do you want? And that sort of was the icebreaker, so that way he could see that I was trying and making a bit of a joke of it and that. And when I go there now, I still go to the same builders merchants now, and whenever I walk in there, it's like an old friend now. He's really, really friendly and always have a little bit of a chit chat with the guy. But it's taken that little bit of effort to make the effort to try and make those few first steps, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. Like, as soon as you make it more about the other person rather than you and your language abilities, just make it all about them. Try and make them smile, like break the ice like you did with, saying soy guiri, no soy tonto.
Yeah.
That anything like to help them feel at ease. That's the way to do it. Because at the end of the day, languages are I say they're like a bridge. They're an energetic bridge between you and another soul. The other soul is the important thing. The other person you're speaking to is what matters essentially. So the language is just a bridge to that.
Exactly. So, brilliant. Okay, well, great. Thanks very much for joining us, Patrick. And if you want any lessons, then Patrick's doing lessons now for several different languages. So go and check him out. These details are in the comment section right now. Thanks very much for joining us today, Patrick Crichton. Cheers.
Cheers, David. Muchas gracias.
All the best. Hasta luego. Ciao.
Cheers, bye.
So I had my live guest on the show today, and that was Patrick Crichton. He's a language teacher here, speaks several different languages, and learning Spanish, I think, is probably one of the most important things you can do when you move to Spain. Obviously, you don't need to learn Spanish. You can live here quite comfortably without ever learning to speak any Spanish at all, but it does open up lots of doors and opportunities for you. I know it definitely did for me. It increased my income here 3 times because I had working for British and Spanish people here, and also German people that and Italians that didn't speak English but spoke Spanish. So yeah, I wouldn't have had those clients if I hadn't have learned some Spanish. And also I met when I was divorced here, going through a big divorce, and I was single here for some time. I had quite a few Spanish girlfriends, which was quite nice, and ended up marrying my Spanish wife. So yeah, you never know what happens if you can just learn.
Almeria Gold 95.5.
Live.
David Wright.
David Wright. David.
The afternoon show.
Almeria Gold 95.5 FM. Thanks very much for listening to me, and remember to come and check in on our sister station tomorrow. That's Almeria Radio 107.5, 4 o'clock tomorrow, a little bit later on tomorrow. Loads more tips and advice on living and working in Spain. And I'll leave you now with a bit of Rod Stewart.